Well, hey guys, welcome back. Very rarely do we get a chance to look at some very truly detailed models that are specialized, but there's a new company out there called RailfanModels and a guy by the name of Brian Wood. You may have seen some of his stuff on YouTube because he does some really exquisite UP modeling, UP 844 consist, does it really well. But today we're talking about the Kasgro 12-axle heavy-duty flat cars that he does with his company. So we're going to take a look at those flat cars and the loads starting right now. All right, the first 12-axle heavy-duty flat car we're going to look at from RailfanModels is this one here. Now this is a 370-ton capacity flat car. As you can see, it has a Siemens generator load on it. We're going to talk about that load in a minute, but I want to zoom in and look at some of the detail of this car and what you get either in a kit or built up and ready to go from RailfanModels. So in the side view, you can see that there are 6 125-ton trucks. These are 38-inch wheels, and the Kasgro rosters have actually 45-ish cars, but RailfanModels offers 3 road numbers of this car. So it has KD couplers on the end that are already pre-painted, have that nice realistic look. You've got the brake stand on the end, coupler cut bars, air lines, which I'll show you on the bottom in a minute. There's a lot of air reservoirs for heavy braking. One thing that's really cool is RailfanModels has put a magnetic connection in between the load and the car. So you can see there, it just snaps right into place, so you don't have to worry about it going anywhere when it's traveling on your layout. Speaking of traveling on your layout, this can handle 20-inch radius curves, and you see all that underbody detail there. See those air reservoirs and brake lines? That's for the extra braking that these things need because they have so much weight on them with these generators. So a nice kind of pre-weathered look here on the deck as well, and reflective side markings, and all of that print is legible. So even though this is not a what you'd call a mainstream manufacturer, this is legible print under magnification. Now let's talk about the load for a minute. We'll zoom in on this. A Siemens generator. So these knobs, if you want to call them, on the end would normally be free spinning, but these braces here actually prop up the knobs. So they are to keep the knobs from free rolling while they're in transport. Those would come off when the generator is installed. Do you want to do the little Vanna White here for you so you can see the sides? See these 3 areas right here? Although that's connected to the load for the model, these are 3 bolt braces, and there's some side ones as well that would be connected to the car to hold this load in place. Here's more 360 for you and kind of the other side, but really nice detailed car. I think it runs about $145 for the car, $65 for the load if you get it in a kit, and $365 if you want it pre-assembled. That includes the reflective striping, which by the way is reflective. So very cool, and I will show you guys some extreme up close detail at eye level here for a second. All right, I don't feel that angle and distance really gave you a really good look of all the details, so now we're up close to give you a quick left to right look of the car. You can see those trucks and the platforms. They're kind of articulated, if you want to call that, so that it helps negotiate those 20-inch radius curves, but that's also how the real car is. Here's a close-up look at the coupler cut lever, and in detail those painted couplers, that's your KD couplers by the way, and the air hoses with silver tipped ends for the connection to the next set of air hoses in the consist. And we'll go up and take a look at the generator there and give you a quick end detail of the generator. You can see right here that there's additional connections that would be for the load on the flat car. This next car is so long that it will not fit on the turntable, because this is a 36-foot depressed deck flat car. Again, Kasgro, none of that's changed from what we talked about. It's still 12 axles, heavy duty obviously. There's a lot of key differences though I do want to talk about. One of which that we forgot to mention, the other car we looked at is a 48, and this one 36-foot depressed, but these loads, not only are they magnetic, but you can swap them out. So you can buy a load with the car, but then you can buy another load and have different loads, run it without, kind of whatever you want to do. But there are different loads to choose from, which kind of makes it more interesting. Let's go ahead and get a bird's eye view to look at some of the key differences between the last flat car and this one. So you see the silver area here, that's a triple valve. That's basically a brake valve, and then you've got all the plumbing, air reservoirs running on the top of the deck versus the bottom. And that's not only on this side, but going over to this side as well. And when you take off the load, there's bracing and such that's in there, and a warning says weld to shear plates only right here where the tip of my finger is. And again, that weathered look if you decide to purchase the model assembled. One really cool feature of this transformer is these two containers of inert gas, so the transformer will have some sort of coolant in there, and instead during transport they've got to keep the system vacated, and this inert gas helps with that, or something up that alley. I'm not 100% of a transformer expert. You can see all the detail on this transformer. It's just really well done, and it's nicely done. Again, for a manufacturer that's not mainstream, they're not cranking out a ton of these. They have a few in stock. If you're interested in getting them, I'd suggest to bite before they run out of stock, because sometimes they catch back up. All right, on this side, I wanted to show you a difference, a key difference, which is the brake line that runs along the edge all the way here. And you can see the little dip in the brake line here. That's actually modeling rubber hoses instead of the steel that the line is made of, and that is because over time, as the weight goes on and off of this flat car, that's going to break if it's steel all the way across. So this rubber hose, which has an attachment here, allows for that flexibility and without the brake line breaking open. It's kind of not low enough. There we go. All right, on this side, I wanted to show you a difference, a key difference, which is the brake line that runs along the edge all the way here. And you can see the little dip in the brake line here. That's actually modeling rubber hoses instead of the steel that the line is made of. And that is because over time, as the weight goes on and off of this flat car, or just changes in temperature, that's going to break if it's steel all the way across. So this rubber hose, which has an attachment here, allows for that flexibility and without the brake line breaking open during transport. All right, and here's a last look at this car. Again, the brake line running all the way up. You can see the reflective striping, which was FRA mandated back in 2006, I believe. And then some of the other markings on this car. And one key thing that you really don't see too often, even in mainstream models that are made by mainstream manufacturers, is the reporting marks even on the trucks there. So I know some modelers or some manufacturers have started to do that, but it's pretty cool to see that modeled really well on this car as well. So just one thing I want to mention to wrap this up looking at that other flat car is that the kits on those run $155 for the flat car itself. Transformers are $60 to $75. If you want it fully assembled, you're looking at $360 to $375 depending on the load. So there's the pricing on the second car. That said, we're going to wrap up this review. Really cool cars, completely detailed, should satisfy even the most distinguished of modeler, the rivet counters as you call them. I'll leave you with a run by. We will see you next time right here on the channel. Thanks for watching and take care.